Alright, so today is March 23rd. Um, Alright, I am exhausted and I need to do two recaps, a recap for today and a recap for yesterday. And I should really open up NinjaTrader and share everything, but I'm exhausted, but I don't want to forget what I'm doing. Alright, let's start with today. Today was pretty good, as you can see. Um, I well, I actually opened a trade up here, and I'll go into why I decided to get in here, and I was targeting here, and what actually became of it. The actual main target should have been here. In fact, I actually put in Thinkorswim that this is where I want to exit. Um, where are we? All right, so did we actually get there? Not yet. The cough. All right, so I'll start with my recap, my trading for today, and then I'll talk about what happened here. I think I've already done this recap, but and then I decided to short here, and what actually became of it. So uh, when the yesterday there were a few signs that okay. So as you can see, the market, the ES has been a very strong bull trend. I actually realized that if I had traded this setup over here, this wedge bottom, and got out here at the top, which was a test of the February open, I would have made $17,000, almost 18 grand. But I obviously did not do that. So that inspired me to consider trading this short. Um, so why did I consider this short? So let's go on to maybe a higher time frame. So you can see we've been making higher highs, higher lows, but the manner in which we've been doing it has been pretty interesting. I'm never sure whether to count this as a pull. It looks like a pause, even though it's a pullback. But anyway, you just say one pullback, two pullback, three, and then we now go into the trading range, and then we break out, and then we start the count again. Three levels, one, two, and three, and then we now pull back again. So these are nested consecutive wedges. When you have consecutive wedges, you are going to reverse at one of these wedges. Generally, whenever you have wedges in a trend, they tend to what's the word? They tend to fail, right? But this particular one has kind of worked out. So this thing over here is called a final flag. Essentially, when we have a strong bull trend, this I thought was a final flag, but this is just a pullback. But this is definitely a final flag. When you have a strong bull trend and you have a flag that appears late in the trend, it generally tends to lead to a reversal. You see, there's usually one pop and then a reversal of that trend. Another reason again is if you join the trend line to the lows, maybe this low, you find that at this point the trend line's broken. Usually when you have a first trend line break, there's usually an attempt to go higher, and then you have a possible double top. So maybe this may come a bit higher, and then you have a reversal of the trend. At least that's usually what happens. So you get a lower high, a major trend reversal. Let me show you another where this has presented itself. You're probably in this day here. I think it's swim. There you go. So did we have that thing happen here? Not really. Oh man. I remember seeing final flag somewhere. I just can't remember. Oh, here we go. We have a final flag here, or at least I think this is a final flag before the trend pops out and ends. So essentially you have the trend line broken here, and then another attempt to go even higher. All right, so this day, so I was expecting this to happen. And I woke up, got into my office around about 5 something, 6. We were already here. And I took a short just as this bar just touched here, tapped here. Put my stop up here. I thought I'd go for 1 to 1. which is here. So this is exactly where I got in on this exact price. I thought I'll get it at 1-to-1. I put in a really small position. I think I was only risking about $300 because I don't normally trade this long. We got here, it was about $200, and I was like, yeah, great. The market opened round about here, and we had a sell to close sell off, except from this bull bar that just kind of messed everything up for me, or rather made me feel like, I don't think we're going that much lower. So essentially, if you look at it, and I'm gonna take the after hours off so we can see it in isolation. All right, so the market opens here. I'm already in the trade. First bull bar, doji. Second bull bar closes on its low, but has a bit of a tail, not really that too bad. The second one, you have a bull bar. Sorry, bear bar, bull bar, but it actually wicks down and triggers the bears in. But what's so annoying is this bull bar shows up and you can see it goes all the way high, but it does not hit their stops, which is great. So we have a second leg down, obviously 2 legs down, definitely a second leg at least. Pull back, and this is the first pullback, at least here. And this is not very encouraging. We're already getting a pullback in something that's supposed to be in a very strong bear trend. So we get a pullback, and then we now get a double bottom. And this double bottom now leads to this surprise bull breakout, which is not cool. So at this point, I'm close to my original entry, which is fine. I mean, I was staying in. I said I'm going to rely on my stop. It's not really an issue, and we're in profit, right? Although the problem is, I was looking at my P&L. I moved from $200 to about $57 or $67 of profit. So that just kind of got me a bit, I don't want to say emotional, but it kind of got me thinking. And you know how these things work. Your mind starts to think when you're in a trade, and really what you're supposed to do is just get in the trade and just walk away. Don't even look at the screens, because the more you start looking at everything that's happening, the more things are going to happen. I did expect this pullback. I mean, you have this big, massive breakout. And I was trading this based on based on the 1 hour chart, and I saw no pullbacks in this whole trend. If we do get a breakout, at least, and it's interesting now looking at it, we can test this moving average. I didn't actually look at this moving average, but we'll test the moving average, and then we'll carry on down. I didn't even think about that. I didn't see the moving average, but I knew we were going to have a pullback. So we had the pullback, massive bull surprise, and at this point I started to think, okay, we're overextended from the moving average. We're probably going to go back and the trend will reverse. But that was what was annoying, the fact that I started to think of it that way. This is my entry, we kind of pulled down here, and I kind of got a bit cute, and this is where I started to mess up. I now thought, maybe I could actually it was over here, maybe I could do something really cute. I would trade a heavy contract, just scalp it. And I screwed that up. I did it so many times out of emotion. I was just scalping the wrong. You know how it is, where you say you're going to go long, you go long here, and then it goes down. You're like, darn. Then you now go short, then it goes up, and then you forget what the hell you are doing, and you're trading your emotions and your P&L. You're not actually trading based on what's going on, i.e., resistance, support. And you shouldn't even be trading that without a good stop. I was trading without a stop, and that just took me out and messed me up. So essentially I had to start all over again. I closed the trade, and I had to stop and start with thinking. I had to basically get myself to the point where I had to be patient. So I said, okay, do you know what? I'm trapped out. This is a bull breakout. Probably going to get a second leg. And also, I don't even know what I'm doing. Let me just stop. So I stopped trading for a while. And I said, look, what's happening is the market is in a bear breakout. And we're just getting the first pullback, and this pullback is probably going to lead us into a little trading range, and then we'll get the next leg down. So I waited till we had 3 pushes up, and I actually shorted here on the NQ, and then the NQ just kind of ripped up. Let's actually look at that. No, not the NQ, MNQ. I was trading MNQ, so I took it up 1, 2, 3. So I shorted this bear bar. And then we started to go up, started to go down, a bit of indecision, and then this just went up, and then I stopped myself out because I just did not trade this properly. And what I mean by that is, initially I had my stop at the highs. This is where my stop was. And then I lied to myself, obviously. And then I stopped myself out when this candle was about here. And look at it now reversed. Anyway, so I was now in a bit of a loss. I now entered another position here, put my stop where it was supposed to be, all the way up here, and traded this down. And at this point, I'm already emotional, a bit upset. Came down here, made up all my losses, made my goal for the day. That trade that I was going for, that was basically what was here. It started to pull back. I started exiting a bit, scaling out, and then I just cut the trade at this point. I traded some more over here, and this is why it kind of messed up again. I took this down, and it went up, and it went down. Oh no, I shorted here again. It ripped back up. I was very upset about the fact that I just went in without thinking. And then I entered again. I saw this low 2. So the first attempt, second attempt, shorted below this bar, and then we went down, and I just took my profits and walked away. And that was where I stopped. And of course, look, it just went down. And no, it wasn't so much like I didn't expect this to happen. I did. This is the pullback, and then we carried on. But even more so, looking at the ES, it was what we were expecting all day as we were watching it. If you understand how the market works, you have a spike, pullback channel, 3 pushes, and that's exactly what happened. You had the first leg down, a pullback. Now you're expecting a second leg down, crossing that. Could have just taken it short down here, pullback, and then a third push before you start going into a trading range. But instead I instead I mismanaged it, and I wish I just kind of held that position through this, kept my stop up there. I mean, my entry was about here, and then just held it all the way down, because you know you're going with this at least to here, and then you're probably going to go down here somewhere. But I messed that up. So that was just that day. The previous day, I mean, I made money, which is great, but it's just I didn't manage the trades properly as I should. That's something I'm going to work on next. This day, I, for some weird reason, wasn't sure whether we were going higher. Yes, we had a massive breakout, but I was so convinced that that was probably going to fail. I just had some sort of stupid conviction in my head. I'm going to clean this chart now. I don't really need all these lines. All right, so yeah, so this gap up. This was the previous day high. This candle obviously has a tail. Forgot that we're above the moving average, and if we're above the moving average and we print 2 bull bars, we're always in long, probably going for a bull trend. And when we started to do this, I started thinking of shorting, and I started shorting, and I was losing money. Shorted again, and just weird. Forgot that we were in a bull trend, and started losing money. And it was all just because of emotions. Was not focusing, was under pressure, had to do something really quickly. I said I can only trade for 20 minutes, and that was the problem. Had no plan, and which is weird because normally I look for these conditions. Huge gap up. How do we open? Do we open with 2 bull bars, bear bars? Do we go sideways to the moving average? Do we have a double bottom? You know, that kind of thing. I wasn't analyzing it, and by the time we go here, I was already a bit too late. I was actually very annoyed. I took a short here. This worked for a bit, and then I missed this long opportunity here. But I think at this point I was already done. And that was just that day. This day was actually a lot better, but it's just basically not really focused. This was actually not a bad day if I had just stuck to the rules and just, not that I'm saying I didn't make any money, it was good, but just did not make the money that I could have made. So the next thing I want to work on now is just focusing on how to get in trades and hold longer. What made me confident with this was the fact that my stop was so high, and I was okay with losing the amount of money for that stop. So I had a $300 stop. I would have made another $300 had I held. Excuse me. And I think having a wide stop was a good idea, because then you could, and then knowing what the market wants to do, following the market cycle. I think that's the biggest change to my trading. Seeing bear breakouts and knowing how to trade very strong bear breakouts, and then just following the price action as a result of that. All right, so that was my trading today. I don't think there's anything else I need to add. I'm not going to trade tomorrow, but I look forward to Friday and seeing how that goes. Alrighty.